My name is Ethan Cross, and for most of my career, I believed every mystery in the wilderness had an explanation. People get lost. Weather changes unexpectedly. Animals behave unpredictably. Even the strangest incidents usually make sense once you gather enough evidence. At least that's what I believed until October of 2018. Until the week I spent alone in Black Hollow National Park. And until I found something in those mountains that I still cannot explain. I've never spoken publicly about what happened. The official report only contains a fraction of the truth. This is the full account. Black Hollow National Park sits deep within the northern Appalachian Mountains. It covers nearly 500,000 acres of dense forest, steep ridges, abandoned mining roads, and remote valleys untouched by development. Some areas of the park are so isolated that a person can hike for days without seeing another human being. I had worked there for 6 years. I knew every major trail, every backcountry campsite, every ranger station. At 37 years old, I was considered one of the most experienced search and rescue rangers in the district. That's why the call came to me. October 14th. 7:42 a.m. A father and daughter had failed to return from a weekend hiking trip. Their names were Robert and Lily Turner. Robert was 46. Lily was 14. According to their permit, they planned to spend 2 nights near Cedar Basin and return Sunday morning. Their vehicle remained parked at the trailhead. No sign of either hiker. No radio contact. No emergency beacon. Nothing. By noon, a search operation was underway. The first day produced almost no evidence. Their campsite was located near Cedar Basin, exactly where it should have been. The tent remained standing. Sleeping bags were inside. Food supplies were untouched. Their backpacks were gone. So were they. The strange part was what wasn't there. There were no signs of panic. No signs of animal activity. No signs of struggle. It looked as though they had simply stepped away from camp and never returned. The following morning, I was assigned to lead a search team deeper into the valley. 3 other rangers accompanied me. We followed a narrow game trail running north of the campsite. At first, everything seemed normal. Broken twigs. Bootprints. Disturbed vegetation. Typical signs of human movement. Then we found Lily's notebook. It lay partially hidden beneath a fallen log. The cover was damp from rain. The pages were intact. Most contained ordinary observations. Bird sketches. Trail notes. Descriptions of wildlife. Then we reached the final page. The handwriting changed. The letters became shaky, uneven, as though written in a hurry. 3 sentences covered the page. Something is watching us. Dad hears it too. It follows us after dark. No one spoke for several moments. Finally, one ranger suggested the obvious. Maybe they had become frightened by a bear. Maybe stress had affected their judgment. It wasn't enough to explain their disappearance. But it was something. We continued north. Around noon, the weather began to change. Clouds rolled over the mountains. Temperatures dropped rapidly. The forest became unusually quiet. No birds. No insects. No wind. The kind of silence that feels wrong. I remember checking my watch repeatedly. The day seemed to be moving slower than normal, as though time itself had thickened around us. At 2:17 p.m., we found Robert's backpack. It rested against the trunk of a large oak tree. The contents were untouched. Water bottles. Food. Medical kit. Map. Compass. Everything remained inside. One item didn't belong. A photograph. Black and white. Old. Extremely old. The image showed 6 people standing in a clearing. Their clothing appeared decades out of date. Maybe from the 1940s. All 6 stared directly at the camera. Their expressions were blank. Emotionless. The photograph had clearly been taken inside Black Hollow. The mountain ridge behind them was unmistakable. Yet one figure stood out from the group. A teenage girl. She looked exactly like Lily Turner. Same face. Same hair. Same features. It should have been impossible. We searched the area extensively. No additional evidence surfaced. By sunset we established a temporary camp. Heavy fog rolled through the valley shortly after dark. Visibility dropped to less than 20 feet. At approximately 11:30 p.m., I woke to the sound of footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Crunching through leaves outside my tent. I assumed one of the other rangers was awake. Then I heard my name. Ethan. The voice came from somewhere beyond the fog. Quiet. Calm. Human. I unzipped the tent. The campsite was empty. The fire had nearly burned out. The other rangers remained asleep. The voice came again. Ethan. This time from deeper in the forest. I grabbed my flashlight. Against my better judgment, I followed it. The fog swallowed everything beyond a few yards. Trees appeared and disappeared like shadows. The voice continued. Always just ahead. Always out of sight. After several minutes I realized something. The voice wasn't calling for help. It wasn't frightened. It sounded patient. Almost inviting. Then I saw someone standing between the trees. A tall figure. Motionless. Watching me. The beam of my flashlight struck its face. And instantly the figure stepped behind a tree. Gone. I rushed forward. Nothing. No footprints. No movement. Only fog. A hand grabbed my shoulder. I nearly screamed. It was Ranger Collins. He had followed me from camp. His face looked pale. Terrified. You heard it too? I asked. He nodded. Neither of us slept for the rest of the night. The next morning one of our team members was missing. His tent stood open. Equipment remained inside. Boots remained beside the entrance. He had vanished barefoot. The search operation immediately shifted priorities. Finding the missing ranger became our primary objective. Hours passed without success. Then we discovered tracks. Hundreds of them. Bare human footprints. Covering an entire hillside. All leading toward a remote section of forest known as Dead Pine Ridge. The area had a reputation among local rangers. People avoided it. Not because of any official danger. Because of stories. Stories passed quietly between employees. Whispers about strange lights. Voices. Disappearances. Nobody took them seriously. Until now. We followed the footprints. The farther we traveled, the older the forest became. Trees towered overhead like massive pillars. Sunlight barely reached the ground. The air felt colder. Heavier. At 4:08 p.m., we reached a clearing. Everything changed. The footprints ended abruptly. In the center stood a stone structure. Circular. Approximately 20 feet wide. Ancient. Weathered. Unlike anything I had ever seen inside the park. The stones formed a ring around a deep hole descending into darkness. No records mentioned the structure. No maps showed its existence. It shouldn't have been there. Collins shined his flashlight into the hole. The beam vanished before reaching the bottom. Then we heard movement below. Slow. Scraping. Something climbing upward. We backed away immediately. The sound continued for several seconds. then stopped. Silence returned. None of us wanted to remain there after sunset. We marked the location and began retreating. Halfway back to camp, we encountered the missing ranger. He emerged from the trees without warning, walking slowly, barefoot, covered in dirt. At first I felt relief. Then I saw his face. His expression was empty, completely emotionless, like someone sleepwalking. We rushed toward him, asked questions, demanded answers. He ignored everything, only stared into the forest behind us. Eventually he spoke. 3 words. They know now. Nothing else. No matter what we asked. No matter how hard we tried. Those were the only words he would say. The following morning we evacuated him by helicopter. I never saw him again. 3 days later he resigned from the Park Service. Moved across the country. Changed his phone number. Disappeared from everyone's life. The official explanation blamed stress. I knew better. By then the search for Robert and Lily had entered its 6th day. Pressure mounted. Resources increased. Yet evidence remained scarce. Then the photographs began appearing. One after another. Found hanging from tree branches. Placed on rocks. Left along trails. Every image showed people standing somewhere inside Black Hollow. Different decades. Different clothing. Different individuals. All staring directly into the camera. And in every photograph there was one identical figure standing among them. A tall man dressed entirely in black. His face blurred. His proportions wrong. Too thin. Too tall. As though he didn't belong in the image. The final photograph changed everything. It showed Robert Turner, standing beside Lily. Both staring at the camera. Both expressionless. Behind them stood the tall figure. The photograph appeared brand new. Developed recently. Yet neither Robert nor Lily had been found. The timestamp printed along the border showed the current date. The day before. My stomach dropped when I saw it. Someone had taken that picture while the search was underway. That night I made a decision. A reckless decision. I returned to Dead Pine Ridge alone. The fog arrived shortly after sunset. Exactly as before. The stone circle waited in silence. The hole remained open. Dark. Endless. I approached carefully. The closer I got, the stronger a strange vibration became. Not a sound. A sensation. Like distant machinery operating underground. Then voices emerged. Dozens of them. Whispering from below. Some cried. Some laughed. Some called my name. I stepped closer. Against every instinct I possessed. My flashlight illuminated the edge of the shaft. And for a moment I saw movement far below. Human shapes. Standing together in darkness. Watching upward. One of them stepped forward. Lily Turner. I recognized her instantly. She looked unharmed. Alive. She raised one hand. As though asking for help. Then every light in the forest vanished. My flashlight died. The moon disappeared. The stars vanished. Pure darkness surrounded me. The voices became deafening. Hundreds of them. Thousands. All speaking at once. I ran. I've never run faster in my life. Branches tore at my clothing. Roots nearly tripped me. The voices followed. Growing louder. Closer. Until suddenly they stopped. Complete silence. I found myself standing beside my vehicle. Miles from Dead Pine Ridge. I have no memory of traveling there. No memory of leaving the forest. My watch had stopped. 4 hours were missing. The official search continued another month. Neither Robert nor Lily were ever found. Neither was the stone circle. When investigators returned to Dead Pine Ridge, the clearing was gone. No structure. Nothing. Nothing. As though it had never existed. The photographs disappeared from evidence storage shortly afterward. Every single one. No explanation was ever given. The case remains unsolved. I retired 3 years later. Sometimes I wake during the night and think I hear footsteps outside my house. Slow. Deliberate. Patient. Waiting. And every October, without fail, an envelope appears in my mailbox. No return address. No postmark. Inside is a photograph. Different every year. Different locations. Different people. Always standing together. Always staring directly at the camera. And always, somewhere in the background, the tall man in black is watching. Last year there was something new. Something that finally convinced me the nightmare isn't over. Standing beside the tall figure was another person. A park ranger. Wearing a uniform. My uniform. And the face staring back at me from the photograph was my own.